Good morning and welcome to the regular meeting of City Council on Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Mr. Charland, Mr. Coghill, Ms. Gross, Mr. Mosley, Mrs. Salinetro. Here. Mrs. Strasburger.
Here.
Mrs. Warwick.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mr. Lavelle, President.
Here.
5 members present.
Thank you. For those who are able, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our next order of business is to amend the agenda. Is there a motion to amend?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Our next order of business is proclamations, and we have Councilwoman Warwick.
Thank you. Can we have Bailey White and her family and friends come up? Great. So, so I have sort of been watching Bailey's progression in basketball on Facebook, and there's a big record recently. We'll read about it here. But before I read this, I just want to say, we don't. There's so much focus on men's sports, right? And here in the city, there's a bit of a dearth in women's sports and girls' sports, right? So to see someone really excel and be like a superstar in girls' sports and in basketball is really great. And one thing too that I've noticed, just kind of watching the coverage and whatnot, is how supportive, and Coach, this is, I think, for you, is how supportive the whole team is of each other. It's just really wonderful to see all the girls celebrating each other. It's as much as things have changed, it is still very much a man's world, and in sports, business, politics, right? And so to see young women really stick together and celebrate each other's successes together is heartening. It's really great. So I'll read this, and then you all can say a few words. Yeah. All righty. So. Whereas Bailey White is a senior guard co-captain and 4-year starter on the Alderdice girls basketball team, and whereas the Alderdice girls basketball scoring record of 1,707 points was held by Mary Myers for over 20 years, and whereas on Friday, December 19th, with a 41-point performance against Perry Traditional High School, Bailey surpassed this record and now has 1,761 points. I think that's probably higher now, right? Making her the top girls basketball scoring leader in school history. And whereas Bailey is currently averaging 32 points per game and is on pace to break the Alderdice boys basketball scoring record held by Frank Happy Dobbs at 1,988 total points. You got about 80 points to go? Something like that? 110? Okay, 110 points to go. Whereas Bailey also runs cross country and track and field for Alderdice, holding the cross country record and the track record for the 1600. And whereas in between practicing, training, and school, Bailey works at Minio's Pizza in Squirrel Hill. She also is a member of the National Honor Society, having high honors all 4 years of high school, and maintains a 3.9 GPA. I don't know, Bailey, we should get that up to a 4.0 maybe. But now, therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare Saturday, January 10th to be Bailey White Day in the City of Pittsburgh.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. I'm just really thankful to be a part of Bailey and her family's journey. She's extremely hardworking, and like Councilwoman Warwick had mentioned, she doesn't, the sport doesn't get a lot of love, girls basketball. So we're very thankful to be here. Thank you for taking time out of your morning to acknowledge her and all of her wonderfulness. We're so grateful to be here.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for giving us this day for our daughter. Again, just to backtrack just a little bit, when she was going into a high school, it was hard for us to select. There's so many choices out there, and we couldn't be happier with the selection we made with Alderdice High School. The education she's getting is unbelievable. The sports are unbelievable, and the coaching staff, Mr. Flynn and Mrs. G and Coach Maddie, they have been unbelievable for our daughter, and they have guided her through the difficult 4 years. As everyone knows that has kids, it's not easy. The challenges today the kids see, it's not easy. So they have guided her in the right direction, and we couldn't be more happy with the selection at Alderdice and the coaching staff, and especially my daughter. She's unbelievable. So thank you for having this day, and we appreciate it.
Thank you for having me here. I feel honored. Thank you to my coaches and family for always being supportive and always being there for me. Yeah.
And is there anyone here for the Creative Inclusive Fund proclamation? If not, then our next order of business is public comment. I would like to remind everyone that the rules of council state that comments are limited to matters of concern, official action, or deliberation which may be before city council. Profanity will not be permitted. After you are called, please restate your name, provide your neighborhood for the record. You'll be given 3 minutes to speak. Our first registered speaker, Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller.
Dr. Ronald N. Miller, downtown, Ramallah, Palestine. Palestine UN mission email is palestine@un.int. There's no evidence that the Pittsburgh offices of mayor and council support Palestine as a state or providing food for Palestinian children. I and the GIS do. Global Intelligence Society candidate for President of the United States, 2028. Info, intel, optimality is primary. A council concern, replacing the 21 December 2025 self-flagellation over the budget with the 5 January self-congratulations, and yes to Mayor Clement O'Connor. Another concern, the national anthem. Why don't have kids come in and sing? Well, Mr. O'Connor has a precedent for that. He invited a bunch of kids from Squirrel Hill in to sing the national anthem when he was counselor of Israel. 5 January 2026, in this council room, Mr. O'Connor came over to me and he said, Dr. Miller, good to see you. We shook hands and I said, congratulations. That's all I said. Mr. O'Connor may internally be a very fine person, but only Allah and Brahma know. I focus on actions, on external acts. Mr. Coghill called Mr. O'Connor a great leader. A great leader in German is großer Führer. Yontag, Taoiseach, maybe, like Iman de Valera, modern Ireland, or Gaidal Monhek, like David Ben-Gurion, modern Israel. What style and substance of governance does the great Führer O'Connor offer us? O'Connor, in his decade of public actions, shows that he's an individually Irish, Jewish, American person, diverse, risk-averse though, amiable jokester, son of former Mayor Bob O'Connor. Governance by joke. He told a joke about voting. I don't think that's a joke. It's a very serious problem. I don't need that. We have a lot of grave problems to deal with in this city, including Venezuelan Pittsburghers who are in despair. No support from this council or from Mr. O'Connor. Governance by oligarchic inheritance, son of, like that. And DEI. Black people were over here in one little section.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Amanda Netrar.
Amanda Nietrauer, Sheridan. I'm a business consultant, leadership coach, and former diversity and inclusion employment coordinator for the city of Pittsburgh. In July, Mr. Coghill intimated he could not be racist because he, quote, attended public school with black people, as if being an anti-racist occurs through osmosis via proximity. Last week at his inauguration, Mayor O'Connor stated, public safety is not a statistic. It's how you feel when walking down the street. A statement which echoes well-known white supremacist talking points used to justify policies, practices, and state-sanctioned violence. Statistics and facts are, in fact, the greatest weapon against bigotry. In October, a crowd spilling out of chambers, overrepresented by black women and disabled people, asked council to prioritize housing and anti-violence work, which overwhelmingly impacts black, disabled, and financially insecure folks in one of the worst cities in America for black women. Mr. Coghill's response was to, quote, ignore the noise. And in these chambers, Mr. Wilson passionately defended his then colleague when a private email suggested she, who a year earlier posted she should start a Tea Party chapter, was displaying MAGA-like behavior. And yet I've not heard Mr. Wilson say anything about these very public and harmful statements. Whether ignorance or complicity, these statements, sentiments, and or lack of desire to do better are symptomatic of the idea our elected officials can appear decent and state they don't have a racist bone in their body, as opposed to demonstrating they are anti-racist. Silence and apathy invites bigotry, thus making Pittsburgh less safe for us all. Well, this noise isn't going anywhere, and I will never stand by while City Hall promotes policies or statements which threatens the lives of my babies or my neighbors in our city. If you are confused, read the book. Why are all the black kids sitting together in the cafeteria? You are either anti-racist or you are passively or actively racist. Anti-black, anti-Muslim, anti-Semitic, anti-immigrant, ableist, and anti-LGBTQ attitudes are all derived from the same place. And what you allow to happen to one community will most certainly happen to them all. Ask Sandra Bland, Sonia Massey, Breonna Taylor, Trayvon Martin, and Renee Good, who all died because of someone's feelings. As elected officials, what you model and say and do matters. And no one has ever been hurt simply for being held accountable for racist attitudes. City Hall is charged with governing for all of Pittsburgh, and the noise will not stop and will only grow until you do so.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Armin Samai.
Good morning, Council. My name is Armin Sami. I'm a resident of Friendship now, but still in Councilwoman Gross's district, in a little cutout. I'm here in favor of the short-term rental bill, 2026-8 and 9. I believe that any housing that can be made available for rent to a Pittsburgh resident should be, and I would hate to live next door to an Airbnb. That being said, I'm also an Airbnb host. I list my guest bedroom on Airbnb. I've been doing that since Taylor Swift came to town, and every single hotel in the city was sold out. I made, I think, $600 for one night, and the review I got was 5 stars saying, "Thank you for being the only affordable place in Pittsburgh." So it's a great source of income, especially as a self-employed person, being able to rent out my guest bedroom. And I believe that's the intention of these bills, is for hosts like me to be able to make a bit of spare change as opposed to changing the character of neighborhoods. That being said, I have 2 requests. I think that this bill has a couple loopholes based on my reading of the bill. The first is that it would allow me to list 2 guest bedrooms as a single unit, but not independently. I'm not sure I understand the point of that restriction. I think it's to stop you from having like a hotel-like situation where every room has a number or something. But my new house in Friendship has 2 rooms in an ADU. I don't think I understand why I can't list those independently, but I can list them together. The second is I'm renting out my house in Lawrenceville to a tenant, and she would also like to rent out the guest bedroom during the NFL draft. The going rate is $500 a night. That's a lot of money. And I believe this bill only allows owner-occupied, not tenant-occupied. So if my reading of the bill is correct, one, I would love to see some adjustments to only allowing 1 unit per property, maybe relative to the number of bedrooms, or maybe just set that number to 2 or 3. And the second is allowing permanent residents who are tenants to be able to Airbnb out their guest room. Again, I'm in favor of this bill. I think we need short-term rental reform, and thank you to Councilwoman Gross, I hope she's listening, and the other co-sponsors of this bill for this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ikahana Halmalkina. If not, our next speaker is Rakib Bey. Who I do not see. Is Rakib Bey with us? Ah, here we go. Right.
All right. Good morning, Council, President, and members of Council. My name is Rakib Bey, Pittsburgh resident. I'm here to raise a municipal risk management concern that affects city governance, liability exposure, and taxpayers. Earlier today, a filing was made in U.S. District Court at Davenport versus Chirillo, case number 325-CV-00330 regarding waivers of service and city attorney appearances. I'm not here to discuss the merits of that case, but to note that procedural irregularities often function as early warning signs of minor supervisory and policy risk. Under 42 U.S.C. 1983, municipalities face liabilities not for isolated mistakes, but for unclear policies and inadequate supervision and tolerated unconstitutional practices, commonly referred to as Monell exposure. This risk is not limited to policing. It appears in traffic, parking enforcement, coding enforcement, permitting, and other departments where inconsistent standards, poor supervision, or lack of documentation lead to recurring lawsuits, settlements, rising insurance premiums, and increased costs for taxpayers. I want to briefly highlight a constructive solution for Council's consideration. The Civic and Constitutional Risk Management Framework, or CCRM. CCRM treats constitutional and civic risk as a formal enterprise risk management domain alongside financial, cyber, or infrastructure risk. Risk management is the logical home. Cities already track and mitigate legal and operational exposure. This approach is non-punitive and administrative, not political. It's cost-effective, reducing complaints, lawsuit, blight, and recidivism, and scalable, since every municipality already has a risk management structure. Pittsburgh could serve as a voluntary pilot city, demonstrating measurable reductions in legal exposure and long-term costs without creating new bureaucracy or tax burdens. My request to council is simple. First, to recognize supervisory policy, clarity, and Monell exposure as governance and budget risk. Second, ask risk management and law departments
Thank you, Mr. Bay.
to review CCRM for work
Mr.
and
Bay.
consider
Your time has expired, sir. If you have comments that you can email to us, we can certainly accept those. Thank you. Our last registered speaker is John Hybrahan.
Good morning, members of council. Happy New Year. Congratulations and welcome, Councilmember Salanetro. My name is John Hanrahan. I am a proud resident of Fineview on the north side. You have two bills before you regarding short-term rentals. One is a licensing bill, which you should pass as soon as you can. The other is a zoning bill. This you should amend to ban short-term rentals as a primary use in residential zones. If someone wants to turn a home into a hotel, they should need a variance, not a special exception. As you ponder these two bills, there will be talk of bad Airbnbs, as if the point is to prevent the bad and preserve the good. But you won't let yourselves be so short-sighted. You know that every short-term rental where a neighbor used to be is an agonizing phantom limb for its block. No matter how persistently its operator screens its guests, or minds its trash, or protects the sacrosanct availability of free and convenient parking, what is being maintained so responsibly is a void. My friends in East Allegheny feel frayed. They are stressed after yet another shooting at an Airbnb. But I say frayed because they're living at the very edge of an unraveling. So understand this juncture for all it represents. Consider the abyss swallowing up homes on our blocks. Then take this opportunity to ban full-time Airbnbs in our neighborhoods. There should be neighbors in those homes.
Thank you very much. That exhausts our list of registered speakers. If there's anyone in chambers wishing to speak at this time, please come forward. Provide your name and neighborhood for the record. You don't have to raise your hand, sir. As soon as she's done, you can come to the mic.
Sorry. I was asked leaving church Sunday by Evan Stoddard, a retired URA admin, Duquesne professor, and Southside community leader, to speak to you all about the needed home for the Giving Machine. I guess somebody thinks y'all like me. Apparently, I'm the only Catholic Jewish Mormon who regularly speaks here. It is a big vending machine that people use to give. It's a mitzvah. It's a good deed. Right now, Tanger Outlets is the only one that will allow that machine around. Local and global, they support both local charities in the host city, like Pittsburgh Catholic Charities has signed on, and global partners like UNICEF, American Red Cross, Church World Services. You go and you press a button and you donate sanitary products, diapers, formula, whatever you want to give, livestock, fresh drinking water. I would like to see Connect cards put in there. Imagine pressing a button to send a milking goat and a box of tampons to somebody who really needs it. Imagine, imagine the help that we can get. But I promise you, if you press a donation button, a missionary in a Book of Mormon is not going to come out of the back of the machine or show up at your doorstep. This is a mission to help the people that are being cut off by Washington. We know what's happening to the government. So what have they been telling? I asked them point blank when these men were talking to me. I said, what is it? The church and state. Poppycock. I've sat in this room and you've given out proclamations to people that were faith-based organizations. This state was built on the religious experiment by William Penn. The land was given to him. He came over here. We got churches that are still standing on every single corner, reminding us of what Pennsylvania is. And it is to live together, come together, and right now, we need to bring that back up together. It's a machine. You can press a button, give anything you want, local and far. Nobody in Pittsburgh would let them. The libraries won't. Please, if you could talk to the libraries. Downstairs in the lobby, this is available for us. And if other churches have joined in and other organizations have joined in, there's no reason why we can't have this in Pittsburgh. Please be the leader in this. The Giving Machine. Look it up. And welcome back.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My name is Dale Marizaldi. I live in Carrick section of Pittsburgh. I want to file a complaint on speed humps on Maytide, Neville's Lane, Jacob. I have a bill here for damage to my vehicle, shock absorbers, struts, due to your speed humps in the roadway. I travel the roads frequently and have a lot of damage. And what you're doing is you're cutting into response time for firemen, paramedics, and so forth. Lives are on the line here. Okay, seconds count. Now, how many people are going to have to die as a direct result of those speed humps? Okay? I'll explain something to you. There's other ways to do speed enforcement. There's radar. There's retired police officers you can get to enforce the radar. You can start writing tickets and generate income for the city. The city's hurting with money. You start writing speeding tickets, you'll generate money for the city. Okay? So I'd like to know what I can do with this bill. Submit to you, Mr. Coghill, right now? After? And yeah, that's why I'm here today. Those speed humps should be removed. And there's other ways to enforce speed without speed humps. That's all I have today. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name's Chad Ringblom. I'm from Brentwood. I stand before you in the love and humility of a man saved by the grace of God through Jesus Christ. We're all made in God's image. This fact gives us an innate ability to know the difference between right and wrong. All of us will have to one day stand before our Creator and give an account for our thoughts, words, and deeds. You might say, I try to be a good person. I've never raped or murdered or stolen from anyone. I've been a faithful husband or wife, but every single person in this room has no doubt told more lies over the course of their lives than they can count. And that includes myself. To make matters worse, in Matthew chapter 5, Jesus magnifies the law in a way that shows God isn't simply concerned with actions, but he's also concerned with the heart behind the actions. A bad action is always bad. However, even a good deed done with a bad or selfish intent can be sinful. An example of this, Jesus states that if you even look lustfully at someone, you're guilty of adultery of the heart. A person exercises self-control when they see someone they're attracted to, and in their heart, they still lusted after them, and they've committed adultery. This is a big problem for all of us. God is holy. He cannot be in the presence of sin. He is our judge. He is righteous, and he knows everything. A just judge can't simply overlook transgression of his law. If he did, he would cease to be just. The Bible also says that God is love. Because God is love, he must have regard for victims. But God is also merciful. There is a concept called substitutionary atonement, penal substitutionary atonement. God became a man, conceived by the Holy Spirit and born of the Virgin Mary. This God-man lived a life of perfect obedience to God's law and willingly laid down his own life in payment for the sins of all who ever trust in his person and work. As Paul wrote in his first letter to the Corinthians, Christ died for our sins in accordance with the Scriptures. He was buried, and on the third day rose from the grave in accordance with the Scriptures, that he was raised, that he appeared to Cephas, then to the 12, then he appeared to more than 500 brothers at one time, then James, then to all the apostles, and last of all to an untimely born, he appeared also to me. After all of this, Christ ascended into heaven and sat down at the right hand of God the Father, where he reigns with all authority in heaven and on earth. Knowing all this, the command is to repent and trust in Jesus for the forgiveness of your sins, and him alone for peace with God. You have to get this part right.
Thank you very much.
Otherwise, none of this matters.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Unique Brown, and I wish I wasn't here for this reason. Wish I was home healing instead of standing in front of cameras, having to tell y'all what the systems that were supposed to save me did to me. I'm here this morning because after surviving domestic violence, I was harmed again. This time by the very institutions that claim to protect people, like me. I'm speaking first about the Blackburn Center in Greensburg, Pennsylvania. Before I ever stood here, before I ever spoke publicly, I tried to do this the right way. I made phone call after phone call. I contacted elected officials. I contacted administrators and oversights of programs. I asked quietly for help, for intervention privately. I waited, and nothing happened. And that silence, that abandonment is what finally brought me here. I also need the public and you members to understand that how I even ended up out Greensburg. I was pushed out of Allegheny County because of the abuse of power and carelessness and dismissive response from Allegheny Links. I was singled out. I was treated as a problem instead of a person. I was quietly blackballed within the system, and instead of being helped where I lived, I was sent away to Greensburg. That decision changed the course of my life. Now I'm back in Allegheny County, and even now, after everything, I cannot get help I'm supposed to receive as a domestic violence survivor. Doors were closed before I even knocked. Support disappeared before it ever reached me. The punishment did not stop when the abuse stopped, it followed me. At the Blackburn Center, I was at one of my lowest points in life. I was exhausted, I was scared, I was trying to hold myself together, and instead of being protected, I was pressured to lie. I was pushed into accepting housing situation that was worse than one I was already secured. I was made to feel like if I didn't comply, if I didn't stay quiet, I would lose everything. I remember realizing in that moment that honesty didn't matter, that my safety didn't matter, only my compliance did. When I finally found the strength to question what was happening, I was punished for it. False statements were made about me, my character was torn apart, and instead of fixing what was wrong, they removed me as if I was the problem. I need you to clearly understand this. This was not confusion. This was not miscommunication. This was abuse of power against someone who already survived domestic violence.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Special Agent Sunshine. I think it's amazing when someone comes up here and preaches the word of God, they don't stay and listen to the one that God truly sent to tell y'all what he said. I think it's amazing. Lord, thank you for using me as a vessel to do your will, not mine. Whew. I want to talk about a warning. Yeah, I come with those too. Y'all don't like them, nor do you listen to them or heed them, but you better heed this one. Warning to rich oppressors. It's 2026, y'all, and we are still being oppressed. And I'm homeless, and I feel like the biggest target. Why? Because my mouth is the biggest. Why? Because I'm the one that was chosen to scream about it. Stop! Like, really stop. You want an example of oppression? I live in a shelter where we can't even watch the TV that the director mounted on the wall for us to watch. Here's the energy behind the hate. We are not watching that TV today. This is an employee that works for this director. We're not watching the TV today. Well, why? Why are we not watching it? Because I said we're not watching it. Only on special occasions. Really? What's a special occasion to watch TV? Like, I don't care about the TV. I care about the oppression. And I'm going to scream and stand on what Martin Luther King did for oppression and civil rights. Do we not have the right to live in peace? No, not homeless, you don't. No. When is enough enough? When is enough enough? When will the hate stop? When? The wisdom for the day comes from Proverbs 5:22 and 23. The evil deeds of a wicked man ensnare him. The cords of his sin hold him fast. He will die for lack of discipline, led astray by his own great folly. I'm going to give you a name of somebody that's getting ready to happen to. His name is Ronnie Davis. He's a malicious, malignant, bipolar stalker who has followed me here from Atlanta. Can't take no rejection. Leave me alone. Die. Go to hell. He can't take it. So he followed me. I went no contact with this psycho almost 10 years ago in Atlanta. I'm here now. He's everywhere I go. Now he's 2 doors down, sleeping on the ground as a homeless person. This person's malignant. Look that word up. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Yvonne F. Brown. I live at 715 Mercer Street. That's the high rise at the top of Bedford. I have come down today because I feel that as residents in that building, our lives are being placed in clear and present danger. They no longer have any guards in the building. No longer. There's, I'm just going to tell you the type of things that happen in our building. We have a lady that has a little dog, a little French poodle, Chocolate. He's almost a year, but he used to jump on people and stuff. And so I said to her, his name is Otis. I said, oh, Otis is doing pretty good. She said, yes, I'm trying. and he's learning. But the only problem I have with him, he can't stand the crackheads. We have crackheads in the building walking through, and if he sees one, he starts barking or growling. We have two people that loaf together. When they try to talk to him, he barks. I said, when we called the police on these people, that we need to get Omar, because the police can never find them. Omar would find them. Otis would find them. And also, here's another thing you have to understand. When I talk about Tim Stevens, you need to understand that Tim Stevens we have to give him credit, because the police will answer him. They will have meetings. But in his meetings, that sometime, because I think one time you gave him $500 to have a meeting, and someone else gave him $100, another councilman, so $600 to have this meeting. But he insists that you must write your questions down, and he chooses what questions can be asked. If he don't want it asked, it's not asked. I went to him, I said, you're wrong. He said he can run it any way he wants. No, he can't. He shouldn't be. I said you should read every question. Let the people, not you, Stevens, make the decision. Now, in my church, we had a program. My grandbaby was there. They said, go get a man for the program. And she went and got, you know who, Tim Stevens. And my daughter's coming, she said, Mommy, she picks Tim. So as they were going, I said, Tim, that's my granddaughter. Now when they were eating, I said to Tim, Tim, I didn't tell my granddaughter that me and you don't get along. And I want you to understand why I keep talking about it. Do you understand he makes the decisions what questions you can ask? Do you understand that? I should be able to ask any question I want if the people in the room say, not just him. And see, you have been close to him. You remember how you ate with him, you drank with him. You remember when we was doing the police review? So you take him as one, but he's wrong. You need to correct that.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Next speaker, please. Seeing no further speakers, we'll move on to the presentation of papers, beginning with Councilman Charlin, Chair of Human Resources.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Councilperson Charlin presents Bill Number 5, Resolution amending Resolution 559 of 2022, authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Human Resources and Civil Service on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh to enter into a professional services agreement and/or contracts with Industrial Organizational Solutions, Inc. for professional consulting services in connection with police lieutenant and police sergeant position job analysis, and providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $276,000 for a new not to exceed amount of $375,000. And Bill Number 41, Ordinance Supplementing the Pittsburgh Code of Ordinances, Title I, Administrative, Article 7, Procedures, by adding a new chapter, Chapter 173A, Housing Data Dashboard.
And Councilman Coghill, Chair of Public Safety and Wellness.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Councilman Coghill presents Bill Number 6, Resolution authorizing and directing the mayor, solicitor, director of planning, and director of the Office of Management and Budget pursuant to 204K of the Home Rule Charter to provide appropriate notice and terminate the contract with Sasaki and Common Cause Consultants per Article 3.2, termination of the agreement. And Bill Number 7, Resolution authorizing and directing the mayor, solicitor, director of planning, and the director of the Office of Management and Budget pursuant to 204K of the Pittsburgh Home Rule Charter to provide appropriate notice and termination of contract with HR&A Advisors in Urban AC LLC per Article 3.2, termination of the agreement.
And Councilwoman Gross, Chair of Innovation, Performance, Asset Management, and Technology. She does have two papers. Thank you, Councilman.
Councilwoman Gross presents Bill Number 8, Ordinance amending and supplementing the Pittsburgh Code, Title 7, Business Licensing, Article 7, Service Businesses, adding a new Chapter 768, short-term rental housing. Bill number 9, ordinance amending and supplementing the Pittsburgh Code Title 9, zoning, Article 5, use regulations, Chapter 911, primary uses, 911.02, excuse me, use table, and adding Section 911.04.A.101, short-term rental, and amending and supplementing the Pittsburgh Code Title 9, zoning, Article 5, use regulations, Chapter 912, accessory uses and structures, by adding Section 912.09, short-term rental.
Thank you. And Councilman Mosley, Chair of Intergovernmental Educational Affairs. Thank you, Councilwoman.
Councilman Mosley presents Bill number 11, resolution authorizing the mayor, the director of the Office of Management and Budget, and the director of the Department of Public Works to enter into an agreement or agreements with Allegheny County Economic Development for the purpose of receiving grant funds from the Gaming Economic Development Tourism Fund in the amount not to exceed $50,000 for Warrington Recreation Center.
And Councilwoman Salinetro, Chair of Public Works and Infrastructure.
Mr. President.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Salinetro presents Bill number 10, resolution authorizing the mayor, the director of the Office of Management and Budget, and the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure to enter into an agreement or agreements with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation's Green Light Go program for the purpose of receiving grant funds in the amount of $1,394,029.06 for intersection upgrades, all at 3 locations in the city of Pittsburgh. The grant requires a match from the city of Pittsburgh in the amount of $348,507.27 for this stated purpose, for a total project cost of $1,742,536.33. Bill number 12, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure to take all necessary actions to acquire and secure a right-of-way, aerial easement, and permanent and/or temporary construction easement as needed, including the taking of property by eminent domain if necessary, involving the California Avenue Bridge project at no cost to the city. Bill 13, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure to take all necessary actions to acquire and secure a right-of-way, aerial easement, and permanent and/or temporary construction easement as needed, including the taking of property by eminent domain if necessary, involving the West Carson Street Bridge project at no cost to the city. Bill 14, resolution providing for an agreement with CSX Transportation, Inc. for preliminary engineering work on the Elizabeth Street Bridge rehabilitation and providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $19,580, reimbursable at 100%. And Bill 15, resolution granting unto Brashear Association Incorporated, their successors and assigns, the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense, at no cost to the city, a retaining wall, steps, and planters at the intersection of Bousman and Grape Street, 30th Ward, 3rd Council District.
And Councilwoman Schussberger, Chair of Finance and Law.
No papers, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilwoman Warwick, Chair of Recreation, Youth, and Senior Services.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Warwick presents Bill number 16, ordinance supplementing the Pittsburgh Code of Ordinances, Title II, Fiscal, Article 5, Special Funds, to add a new Chapter 239, Fleet Vehicle Fund, to create a fleet vehicle fund to fully fund the city of Pittsburgh's fleet needs and establish the purposes for which monies in the fund may be used.
And Councilman Wilson, Chair of Land Use and Economic Development.
No new papers, Mr. President.
Thank you. And I have a number of papers. If we could do the appointments first. The first 9 that we have to decide whether to interview or approve.
Council President Lavelle presents Bill number 17, resolution appointing Jason Lando as the Chief of the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police. Bill number 18, resolution appointing Yvette Mongolo Winston as the Director of the Department of City Planning. Bill 19, resolution appointing Eric Sloan as the Director of the Department of Parks and Recreation. Bill 20, Resolution appointing Sheldon Williams as the Director of the Department of Public Safety. Bill 21, Resolution appointing Lisa Zeidner Marcus as City Solicitor. Bill 25, Resolution appointing Sharon Werner as a board member of the Equipment Leasing Authority for a term to end March 31st, 2028, serving the remainder of the term for a seat vacated by Lisa Frank. Bill 26, Resolution appointing Sheldon Williams as a board member of the Equipment Leasing Authority for a term to end June 15, 2026, serving the remainder of the term for a seat vacated by Lee Schmidt. Bill 27, Resolution appointing Marita Bradley to the Housing Opportunity Fund Advisory Board with a term to expire January 11, 2030. And Bill number 30, Resolution appointing Rhea Price as a member of the Board of Trustees of the Comprehensive Municipal Trust Fund.
Thank you. What is council's pleasure? We either need a motion to interview or a motion to approve.
Motion to interview.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed?
Not this one, right? No.
The appointments will be held for an interview.
Bill number 22, Resolution informing City Council of the appointment of Laura Dragowski as Assistant Director, Community Health and Safety of the Department of Public Safety. Bill 23, Resolution informing City Council of the appointment of Rhea Price as a Deputy Director of the Office of Management and Budget. Bill 24, Resolution informing City Council of the appointment of Bill Urbanek as City Treasurer for the City and School District of Pittsburgh for the Department of Finance. Bill 25, Resolution appointing, oh no, I read that one, I apologize. Bill number 29, Resolution informing City Council of the appointment of Yaron Zober as a member of the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh Board of Directors with a term to expire January 11th, 2030. Bill 28, Resolution informing City Council of the appointment of Robert Charlin as a member of the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh Board of Directors with a term to expire January 11th, 2030.
These are all informing appointments, so we need a motion to read, receive, and file.
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Discussion, Councilwoman Gross?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to acknowledge that there was only one time when we had two council members on a board authority seat, and it didn't last very long because everyone told me that I had to leave the PWSA board and I was expiring. So I just want members to be clear, even though we don't have the authority to vote, that with Councilman Charlin joining the Urban Redevelopment Board, you are also staying on the Urban Redevelopment Board?
Yes.
Good, because I'm supportive of your staying on there, especially at this historic moment when we have an opportunity to develop the 28 acres, so I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. That's all.
Now for our communications.
Bill number 31, communication from David Hutchinson, Acting Director of the Office of Management and Budget, submitting to City Council the attached status update from the Grants Office for the week ended January 2nd and January 9th, 2026. Bill 32, communication from Mayor Corey O'Connor, submitting Executive Order number 2026-01, dated January 6, 2026. Bill 33, communication from Aaron Walker, Executive Director of the Sports and Exhibition Authority, submitting the position and salary report as of December 31st, 2025. Bill 34, communication from Mayor Corey O'Connor designating David Hutchinson as Acting Director of the Office of Management and Budget, effective Monday, January 5th, 2026. Bill 35, communication from Mayor Corey O'Connor designating John McClory as Acting Director of the Department of Public Works, effective Monday, January 5th, 2026. And Bill 36, communication from Mayor Corey O'Connor designating Sylvia Harris as Acting Director of the Department of Innovation and Performance, effective Monday, January 5th, 2026.
And these also need a motion to read, receive, and file.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The bills be read, receive, and file. Madam Clerk, just one technical correction under Bill 33. It's Aaron Waller.
Waller, okay.
And now for the sponsored legislation.
Bill number 39, ordinance directing the Allegheny County Board of Elections to place before the qualified voters of the City of Pittsburgh at the 2026 May primary election a referendum question: shall the Pittsburgh Home Rule Charter, Article 3, Legislative Branch, be amended by changing the budget approval rules to ensure timely passage at the end of the legislative session? And Bill number 40, ordinance directing the Allegheny County Board of Elections to place before the qualified voters of the City of Pittsburgh at the 2026 May primary election a referendum question: shall the Pittsburgh Home Rule Charter, Article 3, Legislative Branch, be amended by changing public hearing notice requirements to adjust the public hearing notice requirements in light of the loss of both newspapers of general circulation in the city?
Thank you. There is no unfinished business. There's no reports of committee for final action. Therefore, we move on to motions and resolutions. Is there anything from members? If not, I have two things very quickly. We just introduced bills 39 and 40, both of which directing referendums to go onto the ballot. One is because, as we learned at the end of last legislative cycle, if the mayor were not to act, then we would have to have started the budget process all over. This would put a question that says, at the end of a legislative process, if the mayor does not act, doesn't veto, doesn't sign, doesn't do anything, that then forces the budget to actually go into effect the next year. The second one is, as we also learned, is we have to provide public notice for public hearings, all our meetings, and currently it says it must be within a technical language is a newspaper of general circulation, which our law department has determined is the Post-Gazette. But now that both the Trib no longer is in general circulation and the Post-Gazette will not be, we have to allow ourselves other ways to advertise. And so this sets forth the question, allowing other ways for us to advertise our meetings publicly. Lastly, as you all know, to get something onto the May ballot, there's a time associated with that. You have to have things done by a certain time. We have to hold a public hearing. We have to have it over to the county. And so therefore, I'm asking if one of you would please offer up a motion to hold both bills 39 and 40 for a public hearing.
Motion to hold bills 39 and 40 for public hearing.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you very much. Councilwoman Warwick?
Yeah, this is leftover from last year. It didn't happen, so I'd like to call again for a post agenda on ShotSpotter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? We'll work with your office and the clerk to get that scheduled. Councilwoman Strasburger.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to hold a post-agenda hearing on our climate action plan update.
A second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll work with your office and the clerk to get that scheduled. And then one last thing for me, as you all may recall, last year, sponsored by Councilman Coghill, but passed by all of council, we slightly changed how we do interviews for directors now. And one of the things that outlines the instructions is once we receive informing appointments, there is again a clock that we're now on. So we have to provide at least a 14-day notice to the public for that to take place. There's also a requirement for my office to send out to you all an ask for questions that you would like to ask the director. So expect a little very brief memo as part of legislation when I reread it, asking you all if you have questions that you want to provide to the directors in advance. So that'll be coming out soon as well. Anything else from members? If not, a motion to excuse the absent member, approve the minutes, and adjourn the meeting.
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.